Well, hello everyone. Happy Thursday and welcome to Elegant Sentiments Today. I'm Sheryl Abernathy. I'm the owner of Elegant Sentiments, and this is our weekly card share number 88. And we are featuring again today some products from Lisa Horton Crafts. I've got a few of her inks here from the matte blending line. I've got Arctic Frost and Early Sunrise. And picked by Paula Matte Blending, I've got the Hokusai Navy and the metallic ink. I have Mojito. So those are my four inks. And then the other products that I'm using, I've got some of Lisa's dyes. This one is the Composition Set C, the Chevrons and Blooms, and also the Best Wishes frames. And from Spellbinders, I have the Branching Out embossing folder. This was an embossing folder of the month in January of 24. So these are the products that I'm going to be using for today. And here we have the card that I made. So I'll be making this one for you today during this live. Actually, this isn't live. This is a recording. I'm actually out having dinner with my children today instead of being here live with you. So here's today's card, and let's go ahead and get started. I've got on my little stencil tacky mat. Well, it's not a tacky mat. It's just a grip mat that I have. Let me turn this around this way, and then I can do it this way and get that off of there. And then I'll go ahead and put my inks up here, and we will get started doing a little ink blending. So these are the flowers. I die cut this flower from the compositions, and I also use the leaves. There are two leaves, so I have this smaller petals, the smaller petal, the larger petal, and that smallest little flower center, and the two leaves here to make one of the flowers for today's card. So I'm going to start by inking the leaves in the Mojito. This is a nice bright green ink, and we're just going to put vary the color a little bit deeper at the base like I typically do, and then we'll go lighter, almost white in some spaces, and just varying where the lighter spaces are on each of these. This is such a pretty, it's a really pretty bright, vibrant green. And I think it pairs well with that navy. And we'll do the same kind of variation on the smaller leaves, just wanting to make sure that we get some variety and don't just have a solid shade of green on any of the leaves. So you can mix it up however you like. You can even add other different greens, but I just opted to go with this one green. And that's all we'll need to do for the leaves. And then I'm going to ink move that over here. I'm going to ink the flower center with Early Sunrise. Let's swap out my brush, and just a couple little swirls there. I've got some wax or something on this piece of paper, so it's going to have a little defect in it, but that's okay. And then for the smaller leaf, I'm going to use Arctic Frost for most of the leaf, the petals, and just come out in the center, bring that color out. Excuse me, and kind of leave the tip mostly white, but we'll put a little bit of color on it. And for the larger petal, we'll use the navy. And color that on the inside. And bring that color out to the tips. Not too worried about the blending on this because that larger petal or smaller petal is going to cover up a lot of this one anyway, so we're not worried a whole lot. And then I think I'm going to put just a little bit of the navy right in the center of this one, just to kind of carry that darker tone in the center. Just a wee bit. Okay, and that is all the inking that we need to do for our flowers. And we can go ahead and put the flower together. And I'll start with adding a little bit of glue to this petal. And put this one on there. Oops. Move it around a little bit, trying to get some of the petals in between. That's where I want it. And just glue that, hold that down for a second, just to let that glue grab hold. And then we'll do another little dab here in the center and put our flower center down. Just hold that. I'll take both of these off, put my glue tip back on so my glue doesn't dry out. And I'm gonna go ahead and clean off this grip mat here. And we can go ahead, move our inks out of the way. And bring in, excuse me, I'll bring in the homework that I've done. Let's see, I need to get a couple things here. I need an A2 card base, and I'm going to have to cut an A2 piece of cardstock for the front. So let me do that. I'm just taking my 8.5 by 11. I'm going to cut it at 5.5. And then I'll bring both of those pieces together and cut it at 4.25. And that'll give me 4 A2 panels that I can use. So let's go ahead and put this one in there. And I think that is all that we need. So I've got my A2 card base here, and I've got my A2 panel to go across the front. And then I took the Best Wishes frame, and I used this die to cut two of these. I cut them in white cardstock, and then I just inked them up in the Mojito and the navy. And then I used this smallest die here to cut this die for my sentiment, and then I used the Best Wishes and put that on. And I put this over to the right a little bit because I want to put a flower in here as part of the card design. So that is part of the homework. And then for the other homework, I just made a couple more flowers and inked up a couple more sets of leaves. And this should be good for what we're doing. I might need another set of leaves, but we'll see. I can't remember when I made this if I know I had extras, but I don't know how many. So that's what I did. And then we'll go ahead and put these, and I fluffed up these petals just a little bit, just to give them a little texture or dimension, I guess, is the proper term. Okay. There we go. Getting a little wiggle there. So those are our pieces, and then we'll start with our panel. Move the card base over here for a second, and then I'm just going to the first thing I want to do is glue this piece down onto this panel, and then we're going to emboss it. So let me get my glue here. And I hope your week has gone well for you so far. Only by the time you see this, there will only be one more day to the weekend. Woohoo! So I'm just putting a few things of glue, little dots of glue around. Doesn't need to be everywhere, but you kind of want to make sure that it's going to have at least one dot of glue on each of these little strips that make up the frame. I think that should do it. And then I'm just going to put this down. These are angled, so I'm just going to put this on the center of this panel. And hold that down for a bit. Let that glue grab. And then I'm going to put this in the embossing folder. This is the branching out embossing folder, again, from Spellbinders. It was one of their embossing folder of the month from a couple years back. This one is not a 3D, so I want to make sure I get a nice, good impression. So I'm going to use a couple extra pieces of card. I've got some somewhere here. Let me find them. Yeah, just to make sure I get a nice, deep impression. Because this is not a 3D embossing folder, it's just a regular embossing folder, but I want the extra depth, so I added the shim to it. Just ran that through my Platinum 6, and then we'll get. And I like the look. What it did, I don't know if you can see it up close, but it really uh, it really pushed that die cut down into the card base there. So I like that look. And then we're going to add this the green one on top of it. So we're getting a little extra dimension there. And we've got the texture that the embossing folder added. So I kind of like that. I like that look. And if you're a Lisa Horton person and you don't have this embossing folder, but you have Lisa's, any of Lisa's leafy embossing folders would work just fine with this design as well. But I use this one. What I'm doing, I'm on a mission to use all of the products that I have in my stash. I've got lots of things that I purchased over the years and I've never used them, and I want to fix that and start using more of my stuff. So I'm offsetting this just a little bit. I want to be able to have some of that blue peeking through. So I'm putting it not directly on top, just giving it a little bit of a shift so some of that blue will show through. I'll hold that here for just a second or two. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and add this to our card front, and then we can finish off our card. I think I'll use some tape runner for this one. So maybe I'll do both. I'll do tape and glue because we do have some raised elements right there on the edges. So I'll put glue down too, right in between. So get those edges, make sure they stick down nice and tight. Just adding this glue all around all four sides. And that should do it. And then we'll go ahead, make sure this is going to be a top fold. So we want to make sure we are putting our panel on correctly. And then I'm going to burnish this just to make sure we've got nice, good contact. Okay. Then we can go ahead and start creating our card front. And I'm going to glue this down first, I think. And then I can position the flowers and leaves around this. So I'm going to put this right about there. Looks pretty good. I'm just trying to line up the indentation on this die cut with the indentation on the frame right there. Okay, so let's see. How do we want to do this? I think what I want to do is put these leaves together first and then see where I want to add my other flowers. Add the flowers in. I want to get two. Maybe I'll do it like this. Maybe something like that. And then put one flower here, one flower here. And then we can add this one and another leaf. So I think I'm going to go with that kind of look, and we'll see how it turns out. Let's just go with that. So I'm going to add some glue and just kind of stick these leaf stems together first. And I kind of want, I'm going to kind of press those apart a little bit, because I think I want that. Yeah, let's do that. And then we'll go ahead and put some glue on the backs of two of these flowers. And put them down. And let's get this one. Okay, I want everything to kind of stay together. Don't want to glue it to my table though. Okay, and then we'll put glue on the back of all of this and add it to the card front. About like that, I think. And then this one, I'm going to put a little foam square on the back of it and raise it up a little bit. I'm smushing my petals. I'm going to have to re-fluff them a little bit. And I'll stick that up. Not there. Right about there, I think. And then we can add these others. Just kind of stick them in between down here. Maybe one more. Let's see. I think go with that a little further in. And then we can add this one right about there. That'll be fine. Okay. Then you can fluff the leaves a little if you want. Only those. And then I'm going to wipe this glue off and stick my pen back in. Well, I can't find where my pen went. Oh, there it is, all the way up there. Okay. And I'm going to clean off this glue before it completely dries. And then the last thing I want to do to finish this will be to add a few little gems to it. I've got some, these are Pink Fresh Studio, and they are clear drops in the color of leaf. So it's a nice green that matches nicely with our card color with that mojito. I'll just put a few of these in here. And add a few. Let's see, I want some of the babies. I don't have enough of the babies out here. There's a baby. Let me use my pink brush. See if it can grab these a little bit better. Well, I don't know that it is. There we go. And we need a couple for up here. And let's go with this one and this one. Okay, so we'll put those on with some glue, and that will finish up our card. I can get the glue to come out. There we go. These things, I have the worst time picking them up. I don't know why. Not that hard. And then we'll do these two here. There we go. So that is the today's project. I thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed the project. And if you do, please be sure to give me a thumbs up and like and share my video. Give me your comments, what you like about it, what you don't like about it. And thank you for being here. I will be back live next week with another card to share. And until then, I hope that you have a fantastic week and that you get time to craft a little bit of kindness of your own. Thank you for being here, and we will see you next time. Bye for now.